Hello everybody, this is the Starving Martian, and today I'd like us to consider a point that perhaps hasn't crossed your mind before. Have you ever noticed that the original Frankenstein series from Universal back in the 30s and 40s, and the Alien movie series stretching from the late 70s to current day, are in essence the same thing? Yeah, I know, they don't seem like it. If anything, you would think that the modern equivalent of the Frankenstein story would be the Jurassic Park franchise, wherein, you know, science unwittingly creates monsters that it cannot handle. But no, when you look at the film structure itself and how the original Frankenstein series progressed from its original 1931 classic through the end of the series in 1948, you'll notice that the similarities between the Frankenstein franchise and the Alien franchise are rather eerie. They mirror each other in odd and bizarre ways, which I think offer a little bit of insight into the way that Hollywood makes these type of movies, these sci-fi horror films, and perhaps also a glimpse into the future of the Alien franchise. So what am I talking about? Have I just gone completely loopy? No, I don't believe I have, or at least not more so than usual. Allow me to explain. Let's start with the first film in each series, Frankenstein and Alien. Both of these are considered to be classics of the genre being sci-fi slash horror. Um, both of these, when they first came out, were considered extremely terrifying. Both movies have documented cases, and I'm not sure how much this was propaganda, but they both have documented cases of people screaming in the theaters, running out in a panic, and and all that sort of thing, which you just don't get anymore. People are just so immune to horror on the screen. Um, but it goes even deeper than that. Both stories involve unnatural births. Both stories involve a creature that is born out of a man without the use of a woman. Said creature then goes on a rampage, murders ensue, and yes, the Frankenstein monster is a lot more sympathetic than the creature in Alien, but both of them have the same basic genesis: a living being um, brought forth, birthed by a man without the benefit of a woman, and so it's a very odd, interesting parallel going on there, and one that I think really resonates in today's society, where the lines between the genders are trying to blur them, and yet these movies warn us that that sort of thing never leads to anything good. And so that was the first movie in each series, both a sci-fi movie, both a monster movie, both having similar themes, both getting similar reactions at the time, and both still highly regarded as some of the best of their respective genre. Now, the sequel, Bride of Frankenstein, is also extremely similar to the sequel to Alien, which was Aliens. Now, in both cases, we have one of those rare sequels that was hailed at the time and still is as good as, if not better than, the original. You just don't get that very often. Both sequels, and there will, of course, be major spoilers for both franchises from this point on, but both sequels um, involve the concept of a main protagonist who thought they were all done with the horror and are dragged back into it. Dr. Frankenstein in the case of Bride, and Ellen Ripley in the case of Aliens. Both deal with issues of abandoned children. In The Bride of Frankenstein, it's the monster himself who's been abandoned by his creator. And in Aliens, Ripley awakens 50 some odd years after the first movie to find that her child, her daughter, has grown old and died in her absence. Without meaning to, she's abandoned her child. And and so both deal with this issue of abandonment by parents. Very interesting. Both culminate with a female version of the monster from the first movie, the bride in Bride, and the queen alien in Aliens. And looking at them side by side, it's hard not to notice the similarities um, between the bride's hairdo and the queen's crest coming up here. And so we find that Bride of Frankenstein and Aliens are also extremely similar. Now, the sequel for these films, Alien 3 and Son of Frankenstein, again we see parallels. In each case, the studio tried to go back a step to bring the monsters back to their basics. So in Bride of Frankenstein, the monster learned how to talk, but he's mute again in Son of Frankenstein. And in Alien 3, they decided to go back to the original concept of alien, having just one alien in the film instead of a whole swarm of them. So in each case, we're going back to the basics. However, also in each case, this is where the series starts to slip in quality. Even people who enjoy Alien 3, and I enjoy Alien 3, will readily admit is not as good as Alien or Aliens. Son of Frankenstein is actually a really good film. It's the last great Frankenstein film from the Universal, but it's not as good as the first two. And so the quality is starting to slip. Also, we notice that the cast of characters we've been used to no longer there. Frankenstein's monster is like the only carry through from the first two films, and Ellen Ripley is the only carry through in Alien 3. And so the similarities, the franchises are just moving at the exact same pace. It's kind of weird. So then comes the Ghost of Frankenstein, which is comparable to Alien Resurrection, the fourth film in each franchise. Alright, now this is Ghost of Frankenstein is the first Frankenstein movie that could really be considered a B movie. It's schlocky. It's still enjoyable, but it's obvious they're not putting the care into it that it once had. And the same can easily be said for Alien Resurrection. There's also a noticeable change that takes place in the main characters in each film. In Ghost of Frankenstein at the very end, and I've warned you about spoilers, but the character of Igor, hunchback that appeared first in Son of Frankenstein, at the end of Ghost, his brain gets put inside of the Frankenstein monster, forever changing the creature. It's no longer the monster you knew. Alright? There's something different. There's something new inside of him. It looks the same, but he's got a new mind. He acts different. He talks different. As in Alien Resurrection, where they clone Ripley, and now she has alien blood inside of her. She's not the same Ripley we all used to know. She's got a new attitude, usually not, for the best. So in each case, we see the series going further downhill. We see the character being changed from what it was. And so after the Ghost of Frankenstein came Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Oddly enough, the next movie in the Alien saga would be Alien vs. Predator and its sequel, Alien vs. Predator Requiem. And I think the parallels here are pretty darn obvious. Alien versus Predator, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Um, this is where the monster mashes come in. This is where they it's just let's talk his characters together, watch them duke it out, and that's the story for both is pretty thin. In fact, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman is really more of a Wolfman movie than a Frankenstein movie, but the thrill in each is just seeing these two have that climatic battle, and so the movies, the franchises are going at exactly the same pace. So after Frankenstein meets the Wolfman came House of Frankenstein and House of Dracula. These movies barely had Frankenstein in them. They're not terribly good. They're not very well made. And Frankenstein kind of has like almost cameos in these movies. His name's in there only to draw you to the theaters, and his name's only in one of the films, and that's clearly can be seen in Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which I don't have anything on hand to show you for those because those movies suck. But you know what I'm talking about. And so the Frankenstein and the Alien movies, all the way up through this point, have been following the exact same path, the exact same formula. It's very, very, very odd. And I suspect whatever next Alien movie if they make, I believe they're making it a follow-up to Alien Covenant. It's also going to fall in the same House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula category. Um, so what then does that mean for the future of the Alien franchise? Well, after House of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, the Universal version of Frankenstein will only get one more film, and that was 1948's Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. And so we can interpret this one of two ways. Either the next Alien film or films is going to fall into self-parody, um, but there's a more positive outlook as well. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, I think, is like the last really great Universal monster movie, and even though it has obviously a more comedic edge, the monsters haven't looked as good as they do in that film in the past decade. You get Bela Lugosi back as Dracula. Glenn Strange playing the Frankenstein monster finally gets to actually play him well. I believe he was in House of Dracula, possibly House of Frankenstein. Um, but he barely had any scenes in those, and so he finally gets to play the monster. He does a really good job. He looks good. He acts well, and so while it does descend into self-parody, it also, oddly enough, returns to formula, brings everything full circle, and ends everything on a high note. And so, who knows where the Alien franchise is going to go from here? Hopefully, they learn the lesson that Universal didn't, and and their franchise gets to continue for years to come. But if the last couple of films are any indication, I highly doubt it. But that's just all speculation. So this has been the Starving Martian. Taking a look at a couple of my favorite film franchises and how they correlate to each other. Hope you enjoyed. Hope it was educational and got you thinking. And we will catch up with you later. Bye, guys.